Welcome to my transgender nation. We're back again with another interview with some of Jessica's friends, and today we are here with Robyn, a very longtime friend of Jessica's. Actually, started out Robyn and CJ were friends. So, Robyn, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Robyn, tell us how you met CJ and your relationship with CJ. Let's start there.
Okay. I met CJ where I'm sure he met a lot of his friends, which was dancing at Toad's.
There's a theme.
He asked me to dance, and I said yes. And I think we danced one dance, and that was it. And then we met like either a few weeks again later, or I don't know, a month. Both of us went to Toad's a lot. And you asked me to dance again, and we did, and we just really hit it off that night. I think we spent the entire night dancing.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was that night that I got on your motorcycle at the end of the night, but it got serious pretty quickly after that night. So, and I was just about to go off to college. So it was tricky. We were spending a lot of time together, and then I was about to head off to college. And I don't think we knew what was going to happen, but the relationship made it through that first year of college. I did come home a lot on weekends.
And I also took many a trip up to Yukon too.
Yes. So that's how it started, and that's how we spent most of our time, I think, at Toad's dancing, or at other places dancing.
Yep.
A lot of dancing going on, a lot of motorcycle rides. Yeah.
Good times.
Very good times. Yeah.
And then how long were you guys together?
About 3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About that.
And 3 years at this point in my life doesn't sound like a long time, but 3 years at that point in your life was a very long time.
Yeah,
and it was
you're growing.
Very
there,
important
right?
part of our life. So yeah, no, it was my relationship with CJ was a major influence in my life. Absolutely.
And then, so during that time, you had absolutely no idea that CJ wanted to be Jessica. None.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And there were points in our relationship where I was basically living with you, and had no idea. None. I helped you move a number of times.
Yeah, well, in those days, I moved more than most humans, I think. So
yeah. So when I look back on that, I think, oh, I would have seen something in packing or moving, but no, I didn't see anything.
No, I was very careful about that. That's for sure. And it was all there too. That's what the funny part is. It was all there.
So Jessica, even during this time when you were with Robyn,
yes,
you guys were really happy together.
Yes.
You still had the thought that I cannot be CJ.
Well, so this is very hard to explain because I did not understand it back then. I just knew what I had to do in order for me to be, I don't know, not to go insane, I guess is the best way to say it. So when I was in private, even when I was with Robyn, before I was with Robyn, after I was with Robyn, I would dress up and that would make me feel better. But I didn't understand what that meant. To me, it was just like, I don't know. It was just like a comfort thing. I did this. I felt better. I was like, okay, and, I can go on and be CJ, and do what I've got to do. Because, I was taught when I grew up that there was no other option, that you can't do this other thing. So I did it to sort of like just keep me from going crazy. And then, okay, I have to be CJ and I'm going to make CJ work and we'll go from there.
But were you happy being CJ with Robyn?
Oh, Well,
Yes.
okay. So here's the thing. I loved women my entire life.
Okay.
And Robyn was basically my first love. And I loved her dearly. I mean, up to the day she handed me back my ring and said, I can't do this. We got to move on in life. I loved her. I still love her today. She's a great person. It didn't matter whether I was CJ or anybody else. You know, my relationship with Robyn was between me as a person and Robyn, and I was passionately in love with Robyn, so that was not a problem and never in doubt in any shape, fashion, or form.
All right. So Robyn, no idea that CJ wants to be Jessica. Now let's bring you to the day when CJ comes to you and says, Robyn, I've got something to tell you.
Well, I want to back up
that.
like a couple of months, because CJ was coming to Boston quite a bit. There were a number of conferences that you were
exactly, work-related things. Yep.
So, and we were going out and having drinks after your conference or your meeting, and you even brought me to one of your conferences and introduced me as your ex-fiance, and and then we would go out and have dinner or drinks, and it was a very comfortable spot for me to be in with CJ. He and I hanging out, it was very comfortable, and I fell into a very familiar, loving, although platonic, relationship with him again. At many years, and I was always looking forward to him coming up, and so it wasn't as if I hadn't seen you if I hadn't seen CJ in a long time. I had been seeing CJ for a while and getting very comfortable seeing him again after many years of not seeing him, because we live far apart. And then there was one night where you picked me up and we were sitting at a bar, and you said, I'm reading a book.
Oh, yes.
And you guess what book that was? I was like, CJ doesn't read books.
Nope.
That's really weird. And I thought, okay, let me pick the most craziest book that I think CJ would be reading. And so, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but my first thought was, are you reading the Bible? I don't know. What would CJ not ever read? And he was like, no. And then I said, are you reading that Bruce Jenner new book? And he went, oh my God, how did you know? I was like, what do you mean? How did I know? I'm making a joke. I'm guessing.
It wasn't that
here.
book, but it was a book just like that book.
And so I was really, I don't even know what you said after that, because I think I was just
you were gone as soon as that came out. That was it.
Yeah. I was just astounded. And I think I asked you like 20 questions, like, how can that be? How?
Yep.
What do you mean? I would have known, kind of things. And I was just confused, just really, really confused that night. And probably in disbelief. So it was a funny evening because of the way, the way you handle it, the way you told me. And, I always think we've been pretty open and honest with our discussions. And I think that was part of why I was so confused, because we've always been so open and honest. How could I have not known this? This seemed like an important thing for me to know. And so that was that evening. So
yeah, there you go. Okay,
what
so
was-
Robyn,
what
I'm
was-
going to say I'm going to interject here a little bit. So, because you and I had a discussion about this not too long ago. Explain where your head went from there after, like, you saw me once or twice, in the very early stages of me being Jessica, and where your head went with this whole thing.
Give me a hint. I'm sorry.
No, you were telling me how you were, you felt like you betrayed or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
I
So
felt
explain that.
I
Explain that.
felt betrayed. I felt like if he had held something like this from me and didn't tell me the truth about this, maybe he wasn't telling me the truth about other things. Maybe he didn't really love me when he told me he loved me. Maybe, we weren't as close as I thought we were. Maybe our whole relationship was a lie, and I was really hurt and betrayed by that information, because it had that halo effect of, if you were going to lie to me about this, maybe you lied to me about other things too. I got over that, but it took me a while, and I had to really process that. I did feel, betrayed is the best word for that. So.
And how did you feel, Jessica, when Robyn told you that?
Well, actually, I didn't know that she had gone through that stage until just like maybe a week ago. So she didn't share that with me. So I was unaware of that stage that she went through. And I mean, I've had other people who have said similar things, and then I do my best to try to describe my side of it, and that, I didn't know. I can't tell somebody else something that I don't understand myself. I didn't know I was a female. I did, but I didn't. I knew what I had to do. I knew, that how I felt comfortable, but I didn't know until I read that book that, that I was transgender, because I didn't even know what a transgender was. I mean, Bruce Jenner she was just talking about, that his book had just come out, or her book at this point, and she was just in the public eye, but she wasn't somebody I looked towards to emulate or anything, and I didn't equate it with me. I figured my story was something different. I had something else going on, Anyway, just like to dress up, but it was a lot more than just dressing up. But it's the only thing I could equate it to. I thought maybe I just needed to do that in order to feel comfortable. I mean, I was brought up that you can't do this. You're a guy. You have to be a guy. It's wrong for you to have anything else other than being a guy. So, I was living with what I was taught, which does not make it easy. So, there on my side, there was no betrayal. It was just me doing what I had to do to survive, really, and scared of telling anybody on the planet. I mean, I didn't tell a soul on this planet until I told a therapist after reading that book. That's the first person on the planet that I told. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell Robyn. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't share it with a single person. I was scared to death to tell anyone. I was scared to tell the therapist, It's like, how do I do this,
And after a while, after I was processing all of this, I did feel incredibly privileged that you would share that with me, and that you would take the time and spend the time with me to talk to me about that, and not just have me find out, through other means, or just by mistake. The fact that you came to Boston and spent time with me and talked to me about it and wanted me to understand made me feel very special.
It was important for me for you to understand.
Thank you.
Very important for me for you to understand, for sure.
Robyn, I think people will want to know, how long did it take you to kind of process this? And did you go to therapy? Did you seek out information on websites? How did you try to understand and process this?
I practice Zen Buddhist meditation,
Mhm.
and um, one of the aspects of that practice is form and emptiness, and how there is no beginning and end to things. Things are always around. Um, and when I applied that principle to Jessica, I thought, well, Jessica was always around, even though we saw CJ.
Mhm.
And then more of Jessica came out, and CJ's still there. It's just that we see Jessica now. So a lot of my thoughts were around how I miss CJ, because I don't really know Jessica. I knew CJ,
Mhm.
um, and how much I miss CJ. But after I thought about how CJ's not gone, he's, the aspects that I love about CJ are still here. They're just coming through Jessica right now.
Mhm.
So that practice of um, understanding that I didn't lose anything, um, because that's where most of my hurt and betrayal was coming from, a loss. Um, Once I really incorporated that, it was easier for me. Um, and how long did that take? It took a while. Um, and part of that might be because I'm not around Jessica a lot. So it's not, in the
Mhm.
forefront of my thinking. But it was something that I had to spend time and energy on. Absolutely. And I wanted to understand this. I want to love Jessica as much as I loved CJ. You know, I
Mhm.
I I want you to be part of my life
Mhm.
all the time.
There you go.
And so I had to find out how to make it okay for me. Not that it's about me, but I had to make it okay for me.
Mhm.
Um, and my meditation practice really helped with that. So,
I like that meditation practice. It's I never heard of that before. It's very interesting. I want to read up about that. But when you think about it and you apply it to this situation or any other situation, where you may feel a loss or you may feel a big change or whatever, I think that kind of puts it in perspective, but you can almost like accept things easier. And
mhm,
so many of Jessica's friends and family who we've done interviews with have said they felt a loss. They felt, and I'm sure even Jessica, you felt a loss because for 50 something years you were CJ. CJ had to go away in order for you to really become Jessica. And now
So
you're very happy being Jessica. I
I
mean, like,
know,
and I
yeah.
only know you as Jessica. So I always think, my God, she is always so happy. She's always out doing something. She's always with friends. She's always dancing. But when your sister Kate yesterday said, my favorite thing to do with CJ was go dancing. And that was the same thing with you. Like, it's always like about fun. So you're the same fun you loved, and I think probably now you even have more fun. Probably, I don't know. Like you're always
I
doing
just
something
I
fun.
just feel more comfortable having that fun now than
Yeah.
I did before, because I was always told that I had a flamboyant way of dancing to begin with, and now I can just let it fly, and nobody's going to say a damn thing because
Yeah.
it's Jessica doing it now. So
um, I guess my other question to you, Robyn, is how how would you people are going to be watching this. They're going to want help. They're going to want to understand this. And I know you talked a lot about your meditation and things like that, but what would be maybe the one or two things that people could do, who maybe, same kind of a relationship, was a girlfriend, was a close friend, was, how do you kind of shift your way and move things forward and still have a great relationship?
Wow. That's a tough one. You have to want to have that person in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've decided you want that person in your life, you start thinking about what is keeping you from having them in your life. Is it something is simple as that? Is it a name change? Is it, they're in your life for a reason. You liked them, you enjoyed their time with them, you loved them. And you have to figure out why that would stop. And when you can't figure out why that would stop,
Mm-hmm.
because there really is no real reason, you look at the other reasons why. And those reasons are more about you than about Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to get through the betrayal feeling and the other ideas that I had about our relationship. And once I processed those, I was left with, oh, well, it basically is the same relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna love that person the same way I did before I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to make the decision whether you want that person in your life or not, and then get rid of all the stuff in the way of
Mm-hmm.
having that relationship. I don't know, and know that the core of that person is still there.
Mm-hmm.
The kindness and the fun and I keep thinking about that one time that you saved my life on the motorcycle, when the front tire blew out.
Oh yeah. Was that scary or what?
It was super scary. And how you handled that, how you put our lives, how you saved our lives. You would do that, as CJ or as Jessica.
Yeah.
So that's how I handled it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Jessica, any last words for our listeners, our watchers, our
I guess I want to go back to what we were talking about in reference to her idea about betrayal, because it's such an important piece of the puzzle. And there's going to be plenty of people that are going through this and feeling exactly what she felt, and I can't speak for every, person who's done what I've done or is going to do what I've done, but you're not hiding it. It's a question of it's a good piece of it is coming to terms with it in your own head, because it's such a different way of thinking in the first place, I mean, the younger people today, it's really easy for them because they get to start at an early age with a world that is, this is a thing that's aware. I could tell you, if the world was today as it was then as it is today, in terms of education and awareness and everything else, I never would have made it out of my teenage years as CJ. Never, because I would have had the tools available for me to understand what it is I was going through. So it's a lot easier for people today to do it than it was back then. But it's so many times now I've heard this story of people my age or around my age that are finally coming to terms with it. And over again, you hear it. Well, when did you know? Well, I was 10, I was 5, I was 4, I was, something. So it came up, it was there, but it's hard to describe. You don't, you can't put your finger on it exactly. So how can you tell other people what you can't understand yourself? So think about that before you start thinking that, that we're not being honest with you, because it wasn't about that. It really wasn't. It was about just trying to survive and hoping that you can get through from day to day, because that's how life was for me back then. It was just getting through.
And I understand that, even though I say I felt betrayal, I understand the challenges that you were facing. But to be honest, those were my honest.
Oh, granted, and I'm saying that there's probably many more
Mm-hmm.
people just like you going through that same, hard time of trying to reconcile that. So that's all I'd have to say about that, is that, it's tough on both sides, and there's reasons for it. And both sides should give the other side a shake on it. And hopefully it works out for everybody. But it's not an easy process for either side. So.
Well, you guys have been great. Robyn, thank you so much for being part of our video series and our podcast here. This was, I'm sure, very helpful to a lot of people, and we appreciate your honesty and your openness with us. And for anybody who is going through a transition or think that you may want to go through a transition, as Jessica always says, professional help is the best help. You have to start somewhere. And if you need help or you feel alone, please always reach out. You can always reach out to Jessica. She's always available to talk, and she has many resources that she can provide. Our website, mytransgendernation.com, will have a lot of resources and will continue to evolve over time. And more and more as more and more resources become available, we will add them to the website. And you can reach out through the website, or you can reach out through social media, both on Facebook and Instagram, mytransgendernation.com. So Robyn, thanks again for being part of our video. Jessica, fun as always.
Yeah. Robyn, thank you so much for being here today. Greatly appreciate you taking the time and hearing your perspective on this. It's fabulous.
Happy.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys again soon.